from Clowntown, Derry, Maine, we have the defending champion and eater of worlds, 2 icon titles under his belt. The box office heavyweight, Pennywise. And stranded in this corner, the challenger with a soon-to-be 0-3 record, hailing from a franchise in decline and a dying movie brand, Mother Inferior herself, the lean, mean drag queen, Valak the Nun.
Valak, not all good. YOLO do! YOLO do!
Docket number 001, case file, identity crisis. Is the nun just as important as Pennywise? I am Inkarnate, your Inkuisitor General of the Mind's Eye, and welcome to the inaugural Mind's Eye Inquisition. I just want to state for the record, right off the rip, that I acknowledge full stop, full stock, that in even discussing this article, the movies referenced, and the source that spewed this hot take, that I am giving this hack director exactly what he wants. That being said, our front page news awaits. And hello, the Slayer Cat in the chat. I owe you a headphone. So what do we have here? The Nun 2's Valak belongs in the pantheon of classic movie monsters, says director. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you think!
Now, as attention-seeking, attention-grabbing, or rather eye-rolling as that headline reads, you be sure to rev up your cars because we're just getting started. Gentlemen, start your engines. As bad as that title is, the article only gets worse. I really think that The Nun is a classic movie monster, director Michael Chavez said.
It doesn't matter what you think!
Sorry, my finger slipped. Said to Total Film Magazine, she reminds me of Pennywise, and Dracula, and Nosferatu. I see every classic movie monster when I look at her. I feel like she's absolutely up there in the pantheon.
Bitch, please! First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop, don't let it go! X gon' give it to you.
He says so very much with so very little. We're going to cut this article short right there, since the rest is just a recap of the franchise, and even if there was more, I can only take but so much stupid. My guy. Somewhere in the bowels of Chicago, there is some cat lady that thinks that she's in witness protection program for blowing the whistle on the UFO landings, and that bitch ain't half as crazy as you. You gotta be snorting fentanyl through a silly straw if you're buying into any syllable of this crap. Let's get our facts in order to establish some context here. The Nun is the highest grossing film in its own franchise at $365 million worldwide. It Chapter 1 is the highest grossing film in its film genre. Not the same. Hate to break it to you. And I don't know if you know how to math, but that latter's box office is nearly double that of the former. The 2017 It reboot made near $750 million. Folks, That's Marvel levels of money before that studio ate its own ass with political indulgence and bad writing. So, based on that metric, the one that the studios worry about, that comparison is a wash. In fact, the domestic box office of It, which clocks in at 328 mil, is almost equal to The Nun's worldwide gross of 365 mil. So, think about that one. But good luck hoodwinking anyone into believing that The Nun is in the same league or relevance or box office or staying power. The Pennywise character has appeared in two separate renditions, Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård. Separated by 3 decades of time, pop culture, changing tastes, and other horror media, all without losing a beat. If anything, only growing in popularity. See also that $700 million ticket sale it raked in. Both portrayals are iconic and whose first iterations were mutually well received. 2 distinct and successful depictions of the same killer clown. The Nun doesn't even have one favorable standalone film. Homie, don't play that. Fans know that, and horror media are too scared to do their damn job to acknowledge that The Nun's first standalone movie was not critically acclaimed. What an icon. I doubt anything will change in her sophomore sequel. That level of insecurity regarding this alleged instant classic is palpable. Yeah, let the PR department drum up some hype while simultaneously playing damage control. With those key points to keep in mind, it reeks of utter insecurity when these modern filmmakers need to compare their shallow monsters to others in order to name drop past classics, thinking that in the minds of fans that these new posers reach status by association. Nah, bruh. Didn't I just go over horror's problem with clout chasing last week? Didn't I cover in my Insidious Red Door trailer gut reaction how the industry tried to christen Insidious the modern poltergeist? Boy, history may repeat itself, but lightning doesn't strike twice. Not for these pretenders. Naming another monster to artificially prop up your own only exposes how bush league you are, so you might as well step up your game. Much like Annabelle, there really isn't anything to The Nun. They got the look down, but that's it. What you get is Jump Scare City. There's no lore, no unique abilities. She doesn't test someone's faith. She doesn't haunt your dreams. She doesn't embody any kind of fear. This is the movie monster that's right up there with Dracula, huh? On the subject about the greater monster pantheon, the Mind's Eye Inquisition is only the third of 2 other live streams that I do on my channel. I run a watch party that I call the Mind's Eye Theater, some of whose titles are lesser known films that I relive and try to give exposure to and explain why I enjoy it in the hopes that I can give these cult classics the love that they deserve. Now then, I want people to watch Wishmaster. For instance, because I think that the Djinn represents the next Freddy Krueger. The Dream Master preyed on your darkest fears, whereas this Wish Granter can play on your deepest desires. You see how that is a point of comparison and not just me apprehensively trying to use one movie monster to lean on another iconic franchise? Would a Wishmaster reboot demand some cleanup? Sure. Conceive of unique twists on wishes granted and tidy up and tighten up the lore. However, I don't have to call Wishmaster the modern day this or the second coming of that. And speaking of, What lore does the nun even have again? Can someone tell me, what fear does she embody? I mean, Stephen King's It has calorophobia in the bag. Not only do I believe that, the fear of clowns helped the 2017 reboot utterly clean up at the box office, but Pennywise sits atop the mountain as the scariest evil clown movie. And I'm afraid that spells bad news bears for Mother Superior over there, or Mother Inferior, if we're comparing the Conjuring creatures to other monsters. For, you see, not only is Pennywise far superior to Mother Inferior, but just like how It is the definitive killer clown movie, Chucky also sits alone on the killer doll throne, which means I hope Annabelle can carry a tune, because that means she's stuck playing second fiddle, kinda like the nun. You see now why it's a bad idea to compare inferior wannabes to the genuine articles? Look, not every monster has to embody some deep-seated fear of the human condition. I love The Descent and 28 Weeks Later, but the monsters in those movies don't have to represent something, because their creature effects are so damn good, and they're grounded by great stories. The Nun enjoys half of those ingredients, so why should it get full credit? Now, obviously, if your movie monster represents a metaphor, that will go far to help your would-be icon to last the test of time. However, once again, Valak enjoys neither a strong allegory nor a compelling plot on which to hinge. So, to say that it gets to play with the big boys is high comedy when those heavy hitters bring the goods. Which leads me to my next point. It ain't just that the director compared the nun to any old movie or monster. Nah, he compared her to the best and the box office. When I opened this up to the social forum, I had someone say to me, "She's only been around 5 years, so we don't know what her ceiling is." Oh, I would beg to differ. You see, the groundswell of support, memes, references, Halloween costumes, yeah, that kind of matters in a horror genre since we have a holiday and a month dedicated to us. The Nun enjoys, wait for it, none of that. Certainly not the way the masses took to the girl from The Ring, or Chucky, or Jack Skellington, and especially not Pennywise. Like, dear Lord, people like this dope say these things as if there isn't any shred of evidence, let alone standards, to suggest the opposite of what he's trying to claim. Honestly, like, what goes into someone's mind when they say tripe like this? I know what comes out of their mouth, utter tripe. But seriously, what goes into their head? Oh, wait a minute. I know exactly what goes into their head. Why, I have this fraud filmmaker's filmography in hand. Boy, there's a face only a mother can loathe. Well, not just a mother. So what is his initiation into scary movies? Why, a film that doubles as his induction into the Conjuring franchise, La Llorona. A film so sacrilegious that it not only pissed off Latin moviegoers, the same target demographic which it hoped to represent, by blowing this opportunity at adapting such a touchstone of Hispanic culture, but it was unceremoniously exorcised from its own franchise. Oh, better luck next time. So, what was his punishment for such a sham? Oh, you got it wrong, you silly goose. You see, the punishment was all ours because his sophomore effort in the director's chair was The Conjuring the Devil Made Me Stupid. Cringe. And now he gets his next get out of jail free card with The Nun 2. This is the quintessential example of a director failing upwards. This is like the recent news of the Happy Death Day director landing the Scream 7 gig. Good luck with that hot mess. A director who helms bad films tapped to shepherd a bad franchise. W, am I right? Any damn way. The Nun 2 director probably figures that he can make whatever bold claim in an attempt to trend with all the reassurance that he ain't gonna get any measure of pushback because God forbid the media do their damn job and ask a follow-up question. I'm willing to bet that the reason this sequel took 5 years to return to is because of the piss poor state of its franchise and because it represents the con job universe's last ditch effort. What am I talking about? Simple. As I said, La Cucaracha was so poorly received, even its own series wanted nothing to do with her. Annabelle was the first of these movies to round out a trilogy, and by the time Annabelle Sleepover released, it was critically panned too. Hit the emergency panic button and reverse course back to the mainline Conjuring movies to bail out the franchise. So, Conjuring 3 comes out, and it failed to reignite the love for the films and was about as well received as white people's food at a cookout. Seriously, season your food, gringos. All of a sudden, the franchise that allegedly saved the horror genre 1 decade ago was in need of rescue. What do we do? What do we do? I know some desperate empty suit at Warner said, why don't we reverse course again? Hear me out. But this time, another futile spin-off prequel from our highest grossing film. Yeah, that's what we'll iterate on. Even though it was poorly received, hasn't aged well, and we nicely endured it the first time, even tying it with a bow back to the original Conjuring film, thus closing that loop and providing another sequel as out of place as Miley Cyrus in a convent. The Nun 2, ladies and gents, the one last trick from a one-trick pony in a cheap trick circus. This is both the first and 10th episode of the Mind's Eye Inquisition. The 9 preceding videos I've made have merely served as a prelude to making this segment of my channel official. I will put together a YouTube playlist if you're interested in watching my progression of airing grievances which led all the way to the Mind's Eye Inquisition. This is also my third live stream variant. In 2021, I started my survival horror live streams, which I refer to as the Mind Games Scream Stream. Last year, around this time last year, I started doing watch parties, which I affectionately refer to as the Mind's Eye Theater. More than anything, I wanted to, as I said, give exposure to lesser known films that I very much enjoyed. And now, nearly a year later after Mind's Eye Theater got off the ground in 2023, I have what will be my reaction live stream, the Mind's Eye Inquisition. So, on that point, it's been a busy week, but I welcome the challenge and I welcome you to the chat, just like Slayer the Cat. I welcome you to the chat if you are open for a dialogue where you can tell me how right I am. As you see, this past Monday, I did I released my FPS trailer. On Tuesday, I did a watch party of the 15-year anniversary of Midnight Meat Train. Yesterday, being Wednesday, I did my very first playthrough of Metal Hellsinger. So very quickly, the Mind's Eye, Mind Games, excuse me. The Mind Games is finishing up. It's on its last month of a 4-month event that I called the Midsummer Night's Stream. So this was tackling survival horror that was exclusive to the, what do you call it? To the next gen, to the PS5 and the Xbox One. Now that I have added it to my repertoire, I wanted to celebrate with making sure that I was able to celebrate what on the right foot and do just exclusive survival horror that pertained only to next-gen consoles. So August obviously is the last month of the year, and with that being said, Metal Hellsinger will be the last Scream stream, which I invite all of you to. I stream every Tuesday at 9 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, which would be 6 p.m. Pacific Standard. Today, obviously, I absolutely wanted to get to this article. It blew my mind that so many people were reporting on it, and nobody was covering it. Nobody was discussing that. Tomorrow I will be putting up a post regarding how Jason stacks up against other, how can I put it, other summer horror films. Last week I did a watch party of the 40-year anniversary celebrating a sleepaway camp. So that got me speaking about Friday the 13th and where it stacks. And Saturday will be the 1-year anniversary of what have you, of Curse of Chucky, 10-year, I'm sorry, I said that incorrectly. It'll be the 10-year anniversary of Curse of Chucky's release, but it will be the 1-year anniversary of the watch party. And I just might have a giveaway for those that tune in. So, let's see. I guess now would be a good time to take to the chat, since my new friend happened to chime in. Slayer the Cat asks, apologies of intruding. No, not at all, you're good. Going back to Nosferatu and Dracula comment, is Nosferatu and Dracula similar or based off of one another from a novel? Oh, my young friend. Nosferatu was a illegitimate adaptation of Dracula. Now, F.W. Murnau, the director, attempted to, how can I put this? He attempted to make it as different from the Dracula book as he could in order to avoid the fate that he eventually did run up against, which was it was declared a ripoff, basically, a plagiarism, and according to the Hollywood legend, nearly all copies of Nosferatu were burned. So how do you like that? A book about vampires was burned in order to get rid of that was deemed the best way by, I believe, the wife of Bram Stoker, the writer of Dracula. She wanted all copies done away with, and they were subsequently burned, and according to horror legend, only one copy survived. So, are they, to answer your question, is Nosferatu and Dracula similar? Yes. Are they based off of one another? Not necessarily. Are they based off the novel? Yes. So, by the way, Slayer the Cat, since you were the winner of yesterday's dead giveaway for the Arctis 3 headset, feel free to contact me. Look into my About page on my channel. That way you can reach out to me in order for me to get your address and ship out your prize. So, back to the stream. These two monsters and their movies have nothing in common. I'm referring to The Nun and Pennywise. There's nothing similar about them other than their native studio, which happens to be New Line Cinema. If an analysis of this article and the counterfeit versus the genuine article proves anything, it's that not all monsters are created equal. In closing, why is the Mind's Eye Inquisition the place for heated debate? Because I ask the burning questions that inquiring minds want to know. If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.